What's good, gamers? Good morning. Welcome to Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. How you doing, HenricK the Wreck?
I'm doing great as always, Chris. How about yourself?
You know, I'm doing better. You know, I went to a Anaheim Angels game. Well, okay, fine. Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. I went to a Wednesday game at 1 p.m. I am flaking. I feel like I was a bare chicken breast. I've been lathering myself up with the aloe vera lotion, but your boy's doing better, okay? I mean, I've been like, doing this all day, like trying to peel off the flakes. I gotta be style and profile. I gotta be looking good. But you know what? It's always a jam to be with you every week on Tuesday live at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, HenricK. And we got an electrifying show for everybody that's joining us. So welcome if this is your first time. And I do want to remind everybody, this is a live show. So if you want to be featured live on air, you want to join the conversation, by all means, wherever you're streaming this show, join the conversation, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss a live show. Gamers out there, you truly make this show one of a kind. And we always like to start off the show with a lot of viral clips that have been circulating across the web this week. And I know sports games are not necessarily your preference, HenricK, right?
Yeah, I don't really play sports games very often. I actually can't remember the last time that I played a sports game, unless maybe at a friend's house or something, but that's just me.
But why is that the case? Is it because there's trolls? Or are you just finding out that there's certain games that you're just better at, or what?
Maybe it's part of the fact that, there's some games I'm better at, but also just, I'm looking for something to escape from reality, not kind of relive reality. Not to say that I could, play these sports at the same level as the characters in the game, but
sure. But hey, all I know is Madden definitely brings out the rage in all of us. And I don't know about you. If I was in this particular situation where I was playing against this squad, holy moly, I might be breaking a controller. You judge for yourself.
Oh
my god, off rip. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
I ain't gonna lie. Where all at? Get a block.
What are you doing?
Yo! Oh my, I'm laying on top of him. Yo!
Let me do one.
Yo!
I want to do one.
Yo!
Get him down.
Bitch! Finish it! He just did a 360. Oh my god. They finna quit. Nah.
I would be done too. I mean, that's bad. And I know a lot of the comments were very active when it came to this particular rage quit moment. The first comment that we got here featured live on air is, nah, y'all was trolling them. Yo, now that last little stick move with the pitch is crazy. We also got another one here that says, I'm laying on top of him. It's crazy that I want to do one. I want to do one right after out of context is wild. He ain't lying. And also we got, just score, bro. This make the game whack. Well, heads up, bro. Everybody's been complaining about how Madden's been whack for a decade. So what is it? I mean, if someone's mastering the game, should it be celebrated, HenricK?
I mean, this is the sort of thing that people do in any kind of game. Even when you go and play a game like Halo and capture the flag, maybe the other team's just going to hold on to that flag so they can kill the other team more and more and, extend the length of the match.
Yeah, exactly. I know when it gets closer to the Super Bowl time, they always like to put on those Madden tournaments. And don't get me wrong, a lot of those gamers that are qualified to be in these tournaments, they're really, really good. But a majority of the time, they're doing a lot of goal line run plays. And is that very exciting? I don't know. This was kind of cool. So let's praise the moment. Definitely a rage quit moment. That's definitely on the Hall of Fame of 2023 where you're going to want to smash the controller if you're playing against this squad. But I know last week during our show, Gamescom 23 was going on and there was a lot of updates, not a lot of new announcements towards newer games, but people were walking around the venue, asking certain gamers in Germany, what is their all-time greatest game that they would play that never gets old. And we got a clip here for you.
You can only play one game for the rest of your life. What game do you choose?
I think it's a hard question.
I would choose Minecraft.
Me too.
I would say Valorant.
Valorant.
It's definitely Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic.
Good choice.
I think Baldur's Gate 3.
Nice, man. A recent choice.
Yes.
I'd say probably Sims 4. There's so much you can do, from torturing to just fantasy. Generally so fun.
Yeah, good choice.
I would say Red Alert, Command & Conquer.
Animal Crossing, because it's a cozy game and I like it.
Nice.
Torturing and fantasy. I mean, yeah, that would be a bit of a nervous laughter. But I mean, let's not kid ourselves. I think everybody's done it at least one time when we used to play Sims, where, you know, you would put your character in the pool and then, you know, you would make it so they can't even get out of the pool. And essentially what ends up happening, they faint. It's like Pokemon, right? Like, they don't go forever. It's a simulation, right? No, they're gone.
Yeah. They're gone. And
No, it's
Grim
gone.
Reaper comes, and you know you gotta talk to him. And
Yeah, that's right. I totally forgot about that. I mean, that game is legendary. But I don't know if that would be the go-to game for me to, like, you know, if I was going to be living on Mars for the rest of my life and I only had like a few selection of games to play. I don't know if Sims 4 would be that game, but it is free to play after all, so you could get your hands on it. But I know, you know, the comments were very alive when it came to this, and one person wrote, "What color was the sword?" Do you remember the color of the sword, HenricK?
yeah, it was white
And
and like a beige.
okay, I'll give it to you. It was lavender, purple.
Okay.
No, I just wanted to tease you. One person wrote Skyrim. Good choice. I mean, it definitely lives up to it. And I know we got Starfield in a couple of days, so that could easily maybe be that game you might want to travel to Mars for. We also got here Red Dead Redemption 2, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a great game. My go-to, not necessarily. I think it dies off pretty fast, in my opinion. The other one is the guy who said Red Alert is a real one. I have never played that game, so now I have a new game on my radar. Yeah, never got around to it. Is it a game to definitely check out?
I mean, that's one of the classic RTS games up there, like in the same era as the original StarCraft.
Oh, okay. I like StarCraft. I mean, we're definitely throwing it back now. Okay. And we also got the girl that said Valorant hates herself. That's a bit harsh. I mean, we just found out that Ben Affleck plays Valorant. Don't you want to run across him live? And we also got here.
I agree with that comment, though.
Really? It's really not the go-to game? And then we have Witcher 3. No, not at all. That's funny. I mean, what happened to, like, you know, the people that just want to choose like an easy game? I mean, nobody picked like Call of Duty or Fortnite or any of that stuff. I mean, I was quite
someone
surprised.
picked Minecraft. It can be an easy game. You know, you don't have to even do any objective. You can just go roam around, build something. I'd say actually probably if I were to choose a game, Minecraft would probably be my choice because there's so many things you can do in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I had the good Wi-Fi internet, and I wish that the lobbies load up a bit faster, but I think I could have endless fun playing Grand Theft Auto 5. I really do. If I had the online attributes and we could just get into the match, make it a little bit faster, probably be my go-to game. Is it the greatest game of all times? I don't know about that, but I mean, longevity, and I've only stuck to playing one game. I think that's my choice. What about yourself, HenricK?
Yeah, like I think it's the same thing with me. You know, if I choose Minecraft, like there's so many things you can do. You kind of are probably never going to run out of options, especially if you're considering the ability to even put in mods into the game. Like the game has endless amounts of content at that point. So I think I'd probably choose that.
I mean, you got me thinking about it. You know, Bethesda's new, Starfield that's about to be dropping, and they are even encouraging modders to get involved and get active. I mean, could you imagine some of the planets that are going to be based off, like maybe the Marvel or the DC universe? I mean, there's going to be so much endless potential, and I'm getting kind of excited. I mean, the graphics look a tad cheesy at times, and you know, it's kind of looking like a PS4 still, but I think it's gonna be an epic odyssey for everybody to check out.
I actually saw a really funny comment about that when I saw that they were encouraging modding. Someone was like, someone's gonna mod a planet that is just the Skyrim map into the game, and then Todd Howard's gonna get away with it again, you know, releasing Skyrim for like the 20th time.
That's actually really, really funny. You're like a space guy and you get to like float around in zero gravity and you're like on the same level as the dragons in the air.
Yeah.
That might be kind of epic. I'm not going to lie. I actually like that. I am in favor of that option. I think that is really cool. But there is something that I'm not in favor with, and this was just wild. I mean, the fact that couples out there today are signing contracts like this. I mean, we got to show this live up on air. NBA 2K contract. And as you can clearly see, someone wants to game and they don't want any kind of interruptions. And number one says from September 8th to August 28th, I can play NBA 2K as much as I want at all times. Number two, walking in front of the TV or hugging me while I'm playing is strictly forbidden. Number three, if/when I lose, do not say it's only a game. Get over it. I'm sure you will win next time. You're not good. That's why you lost. And number four, all love and affection must wait until downtime or when I have finished playing the game. Number five, all events such as birthdays, date nights, and etc. must be discussed and arranged accordingly. And number six, do not ask why I spend money on virtual coins / the game. That is, oh my gosh,
That's
highly
crazy.
problematic.
That is a wild contract right there. Like,
Well,
clearly, this person's partner is not a gamer.
Well, I mean, but she was willing to sign it. I mean, that's just the amazing part. I know people were quick to even comment on this because it's just insane, in my opinion. You got one person that wrote here, bro said love and affection must wait. Second comment that we got here says, she really signed that shit? And then the third one says right here, she getting them cheeks clapped by some other dude, guaranteed. So, you know, it could... The fact that she even signed, I like the fact that even in that same contract, it goes all events, birthdays, date nights, and etc. must be discussed and arranged accordingly. Nowhere inside that contract states that he has to even give his own girlfriend, his own wife, a heads up about when he wants to play for endless hours in the day. So I don't know if I would give any kind of woman, or whatever your sexual preference is, any kind of idea, because then they might vice versa and throw this back on you. So, HenricK, is this something that you and your girl are thinking about pursuing in the future, or is this just kind of this is already locked in, already no discussions intact?
I don't think anything needs to be said for my personal relationship in regards to, okay, honey, this is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be gaming, and you can't bother me in this time. No, I want to come over. You want to play? I'll give you a try. We'll see how we go.
Fair enough. I think it was more about the contract, about how she's probably bitching and complaining that he's spending so much virtual coins and not so much about the actual gameplay. But then again, that is something that you are definitely not going to lock me into. But all I know is we got an amazing show for everybody that's tuning in live to Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. And if you have not already, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button so you never miss a live show. And hit that bell, baby. That's the best way to get notified right there on your mobile device. But stick around because we got so much more left on this jam-packed show. So let's get it, fam. You ready to rock and roll, HenricK?
Absolutely. Let's rage.
Let's get it.
Hey everyone, this is Pause or Repeat. Here we figure out whether a game is really worth your time and money. Today's game is Remnant II. Remnant II is of course a sequel to the 2019 game Remnant from the Ashes. If you've ever thought of what Dark Souls would be like with guns, this basically fits the bill. But does that translate to good gameplay? Let's take a look and find out. The gameplay in Remnant 2 involves traversing levels and fighting bosses, much like Dark Souls. However, each level is procedurally generated to some degree. There are also different storylines and quests that can be given to the player out of a selection pool, so each playthrough will feel vastly different. Combine that with gear and traits to expand your character and playstyle, and you'll find that there are several ways to approach the game. The classes are a highlight feature and range from gunslinger to engineer, while being able to combine abilities from 2 classes to give even more variety. But what kind of story goes along with this game? The story of Remnant 2 is mostly a direct sequel to the first, 2 decades later. Fortunately, you do not have to have played the first game to understand the story. To put it simply, there is an evil force called the Root. The Root has conquered several realms, and despite it being stopped in the first game, it is back. It is now your job to stop the Root from spreading and conquering realms, and you will do so by traveling to these different realms personally. The story serves as a vessel to give the player different environments to traverse, rather than sticking to one type of environment. But now the question still stands. Pause or repeat?
Dark Souls with guns. I mean, when you first hear that, it's like, what? How's that going to work? But I think that they actually do a pretty good job of making it work, especially considering you have all these different environments that you can go through, and it's multiplayer, which I think is even better for any game like this where you really are just going up against bosses and going through levels. Like, being able to play with a couple friends just makes that even more fun, in my opinion. I'll admit I never played the first game, so I can't really compare it to that one. My friends did play it, and they said they didn't really jive with it too much. But the second one, when that one got announced, we were like, oh, that looks really cool. And they said, oh yeah, that actually looks a lot better than the first one. And from what I was seeing, because I looked up some gameplay and details of the first one, it really seems like they took what worked in the first one and made it just even better in the second one. Refined it, found out, okay, that works really good. Let's put that in. Let's tweak this here and there. And I had a good time with the game personally. I didn't play with friends, but I think that if I were to play with friends, even in the future, I'd have even more fun, honestly. But I'm actually curious, what are your thoughts on this game, Chris?
Well, it already sounds like you're going to say repeat. I really think that Remnant 2 is an amazing, fantasy shooter. It offers a lot of really dark and enticing series of worlds that a lot of gamers can jump into. And the coolest thing is you're playing as like this nameless survivor in this like post-apocalyptic Earth where, you like you said in your beautiful video where you're going to be where there's like a race of like evil trees called the Root that are attempting to take over the multiverses. And what's really cool that you're going to be wanting to play this game as a repeat is because when you go and bring your friends along on the journey, you have to realize that like everybody's going to have a different storyline when you play, because there's always going to be 2 different scenarios that are going to happen in each world. You're always going to have different bosses to fight. You're going to find completely different quests. That is what really pulls me in, and there's something that's so great about this game that's all bashed in together. And there's a few technical issues here and there, but other than that, I mean, I think it's really worth your time and money. I mean, especially when, summer's kind of coming to an end. We're all kind of, getting hyped about Starfield. But, when this kind of game becomes available, let's say during Cyber Monday or, getting closer to Christmas time, and you're kind of looking for that game and you can't really wait to, spend $70 on a game. This game I really think is really worth your time and money. So I'm really high on it. I almost say a repeat.
Yeah, you're right in assuming that I'm going to say a repeat as well, because I definitely do think it is a repeat. It's a game that deserves to be played multiple times. Now, I don't necessarily agree with a statement from the principal director that you have to play more than 400 hours of the game to see everything in the game. I don't think that's true, because the game, gives you the option, even if you don't want to play through an entire playthrough of the game, you can go back to individual levels and, just play through that level. So I don't think that 400 hours is really accurate.
Yeah, that's a bit of a stretch. You could completely beat this game in like 20 hours. But I think what they're trying to get at is it kind of gives you that same element that you get from like Star Wars Jedi Survivor, where you're going to want to go and revisit the locations again, because there might be something that you missed. There's always a lot of hidden elements inside these different worlds. And I think That's what makes the game a bit more enticing than the first experience, because it's really hard to make a really badass sequel. I mean, you think about The Last of Us Part 2, you think about Red Dead Redemption 2, we all have the celebrated Borderlands 2, for example. So when you see a game like this that kind of got some flack during its first run, and to see that it improved and listened to the gamer's experience, that's why I say it's a repeat. I mean, it's something to be very celebrated about, and expect a trilogy. I think, the studio is hyped with some of the noise that's being attracted from critics and gamers alike.
No, yeah, I think that you can expect a trilogy from this one, and I'm sure that they'll try their best to make it even better than this one, which at that point, hey, if you can do that, I really praise that, because a sequel is hard, but a trilogy is even harder, I'd say.
Even harder. You know what? On a final note, it's really funny how there's always kind of this reoccurring theme with a lot of these horror games. What's up with trees and roots? I think about Redfall, for example. Dude, this is an exact mirror of Redfall trying to copy what Remnant's doing. That's all I got to say. Can we just lose this whole idea of an evil root and sprouting out? I mean, even The Last of Us try to even branch out and say it's crawling from out of the ground. Can we just die off with that already? Remnant nailed it. Let's not continue this trend any further. That's my final note.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting thought. I hadn't even thought about that, but you're right. You're totally right.
But hey, gamers out there, we got more left on Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. So let's set the tone and get the party started, fam. What's good, listeners? Welcome to Patch Notes, where my co-host HenricK and I discuss gaming news, industry talk, and so much more. So let's get it. And HenricK, I'm going to have you set the tone because you've been very hyped up on this game. So why is this game now in the news? I thought we were supposed to be celebrating the release of this game. So talk to me. What is going on?
So Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon, it's a hard game. No doubt about it. Even from the first level, you are going up against the boss named the AH-12-HC helicopter. It's just a huge helicopter that's shooting you, and you have no customization. You just got the basic mech abilities at this point. And people are saying, hey, this is maybe a little too hard. Maybe I'm going to go play this game and rage quit because the game is way too hard. And, the thing is, that's kind of just the From Software thing to make, games that are really hard. But despite all the people who have been raging, we have a clip of a guy who's taking advantage of all this hype and all this rage behind it.
Yes.
And we might as well just show it to you because it speaks for itself.
You ain't lying, HenricK. So I'm going to go ahead and play the video.
Let's go!
Why do we even game in the first place? What is that? What are those? That's crazy. I mean, people have been talking all kinds of things when it comes to this game, and we might as well show the comments, right? I mean, that will really kind of set the tone for the conversation, because the comments alone let everybody know how gamers are feeling. Because the game is hard throughout, but Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon, that first boss is a doozy, let me just say. Gotta love a game where you gotta watch, quote, how to for a tutorial boss. The battle wouldn't be as difficult if the boss couldn't fly outside the no-fly zone. This boss was destroying me this morning. I almost deleted the whole game. Finally won on my 20th attempt. Just stayed relatively close and used the plasma sword. Don't stay on the ground too long. First AC game I've played. I'm getting smoked by this guy, and it isn't even close. We also got here, for those who have never played Armored Core, rule number 1, there is no best loadout. There will always be different loadouts that work on certain missions and not on others. And last, From Software is not sorry that Armored Core isn't Call of Duty with robots. So, I mean, you were kind of cracking me up, dude. You know, we were talking in like pre-production. You're like, oh, you know, I'm just so good. I'm such a good gamer. You know, how many attempts did you really beat this in? I mean, no BS. You're live on camera now. Like, how many attempts did it really take you?
All right. So for the first boss in the very first level, the helicopter, it took me like 3 tries. I was like,
three
okay,
tries.
you know,
Compared to some people doing 20.
Tries. Yes, 3 tries for the first boss of the game, and I was like, okay, it was pretty hard, but it gives you a chance to experiment to kind of see how the game's combat flows. That boss at the end of chapter 1 that guy's playing the flute on, I beat that in 30 minutes. It took me, probably 10 tries, something like that. Constantly just going back and trying it again. But I have a friend of mine. I have a friend of mine who beat it on the second try, and I have another friend of mine who has been stuck on it since day 2 of the game being out. And the game's been out for a few days now.
Is there like a fixed difficulty? Or are you playing on medium while everybody else is trying to do it on hard? I mean, what's going on? I mean, I've seen Asmongold like literally make a whole entire micro content video on YouTube complaining that he's saying that Armored Core 6 was a big mistake to even purchase in pre-orders. So the fact that you see a major streamer like that's having an incredibly hard time, and you got gamers like HenricK the Wreck that are figuring it out while others are struggling, now I kind of understand why people feel like they don't want to play a game that feels like work. Like, who wants to play a game that feels like a 9-to-5 gig where you can't just like, it's the first boss. Like the first boss. This is something that you would anticipate maybe in the final boss where you keep doing multiple attempts. Like I just recently played and finished Mortal Kombat 11, and anybody that's played that final boss and you got to go through those part 1 and part 2 battle, it's frustrating because then you got to go back, keep cutting skip the scene. I've already seen it numerous times. I don't need it. You're rubbing it into my face that I suck ass at this game. And now you got a game like this that's getting everybody flustered within the first 30 minutes of the game. Doesn't that seem like a problem?
I mean, it does alienate some of the gamers who just can't reach over that hurdle. That is true. And I do think that, games should be accessible. But at the same time, it just sounds like a skill issue to me. Like you just got to get good. That's all it is.
So you're in favor of like skill check bosses? Because this is something that I guess, From Software is very keen on when it comes to their games that they develop. You love that kind of aspect when you go and search and pursue a video game?
Well, it's in context because, From Software does make games that are pretty hard generally. I don't think that really you can say to someone, okay, go play Dark Souls without any deaths on your first time. No, they're going to die.
But a lot of people were getting that same experience when they were playing Elden Ring. I mean, you never heard of like first reports going, oh my God, I'm playing the first boss and just, oh man, this game's going to be a doozy. Like, I just feel like that's such, I mean, obviously we always know all the time when you learn it in school, there's no such thing as bad publicity, but I feel like these are one of those prime examples where this wouldn't necessarily get me hyped to want to go and pay for the game at the fixed value of a brand new game. This would make me want to wait until it's at a discounted rate.
Well, maybe people were more hyped for Elden Ring, considering it was basically like the apex predator of From Software's Souls-like kind of genre that they've really refined, as opposed to Armored Core. Like it is a Souls-like game kind of, but it's not really a Souls-like game in the sense of you don't have invisibility frames on your dodge. It's more of like a bullet hell actually when it really comes down to it. In the combat, you're just constantly dodging missiles and any sort of projectile against or from these bosses, which is not really something that you have to do too much in any of the Souls-like games. Even in Remnant, which is a Souls-like game as well, there's not really any of that. Like the combat is just a lot more fast-paced in Armored Core, and as a result of that, maybe people are just getting this harsh awakening to the fact that, oh, maybe I was good at the Souls games, but this one's a whole different beast.
Do you ever remember playing like really dark games? I remember when I was playing a rerun of The Last of Us, the very first one, and there's like a very dark room, and then after a while you're like, dude, I'm getting so frustrated. Where the hell am I supposed to jump? Like over the ledge and etc. Is any of that involved in Armored Core 6 where like after like the 5th or 10th attempt, there might be like an in-game message that's like, hey, you might want to try this? Are they just like, you got to actually pay attention to the tutorial and you completely ignore it, you're going to be having a completely hard time with this game?
Oh no, you will want to do the tutorials because they really do teach you how to deal with anything that you're going to come across. Like that boss that is the end of chapter 1. When I died a few times, it actually did tell me, hey, maybe you should go change up your mech build a little bit to maybe be a little bit better against this boss.
So at least
because there's certain things. Yeah, there's certain things, weapons and builds that work better against other bosses or enemies in general. And like, for example, with that one, he has a shield you got to bring down. So if you use like energy weapons, it's going to go through that shield a lot quicker. So that's just like things you got to figure out. And the game really does tell you about that if you read. But if you don't read and you skip all the tutorials, you're not going to know that.
Come on, man. I'm trying to play video games. Who the hell said I got to pick up a book and read? Come on, Ed. Come on. But hey, no, I mean, I think that's an excellent point, and I feel like this, unfortunately, is going to hinder the opportunity for Armored Core 6 to be a contender for potentially Game of the Year, maybe even, an action game. But we will see. I mean, it's very fresh, very new to the scene, so not all gamers have had their hands on it, including myself. Trust me, in a couple weeks, I'll definitely get my hands all over it. But just from first reactions, I just don't know if this game will be for me. But trust me, in a future Pause or Repeat episode, we will be visiting Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon.
Oh, yeah.
And breaking down all the pros and cons of what makes this game special. But we might as well move on to the next topic. PlayStation Portal's functionality that makes it more of a remote play game or a device rather than a cloud gaming handheld indicates that Sony has a fundamental misunderstanding about what people would want out of a PlayStation game streaming handheld. And there have been outlets out there that have had their first review and first session of the game. We're going to show you a clip of an early review.
So the goal of PlayStation Portal is to eliminate all of those pain points and make remote play as easy as just picking it up and playing. The Portal can do something that other remote play devices can't, which is wake up your PS5 just by turning it on, so it's ready to go. Its design essentially takes a standard DualSense controller, chops it in half, and then slaps those two controller grips to the side of an 8-inch 1080p LCD display. It's definitely a little weird when you're used to the more singular-looking designs of current handhelds like the Nintendo Switch and Valve Steam Deck, but it's also lighter than either of those while still giving you both a large screen and full-size controls.
My very first reaction now just watching this video live on air is, especially with the Wii's, right? You could take off the joysticks and stuff like that. What happens if the PlayStation Portal, the sticks start to drift?
That would be a matter of then having to probably open up the controller and see if you could even replace the sticks in the first place.
Just what a conundrum to begin with. And I know a lot of people have a lot of distaste for this product right now. And the first comment that we got here is a moment of silence for the parents who will buy this for their kids that don't own a PlayStation. So be warned, parents, you need the console to play this. It is not what we know as the PSP. Second comment we got here was, this is magnificent. I am 100% getting a Switch OLED. Number 3, this makes the PS Vita look like a masterpiece. Number 4, they really released this at a time when the dedicated gaming handhelds like the Steam Deck, Rogue Ally, and Switch exist, not to mention the great stuff that Lenovo's, am I saying that correct? I'm probably butchering it.
Yeah, Lenovo.
Okay, and One X Pro. Gosh, a lot of these names are like a mouthful. Holy moly. From innovating the handheld market with the PSP to completely losing sight of things with the Portal, well done, Sony. So instead of a PSP, they decided to go with the much and fairly hated idea of remote play. What an amazing strategy. And last, no OLED and no Bluetooth. Innovation is indeed their passion. Man, dude, I mean, it's true. I mean, the exclusion of the PlayStation Plus premium cloud gaming capability, I think, drastically shrinks the number of reasons why gamers will not pick up this device. I mean, I just feel like, the fact that you have to stick around at home to use the PlayStation Portal, and you're limited with the game library to whatever the user owns on their console is a major flaw that, this is going to be just as bad as the PS Move. Remember that?
Yeah.
I remember I had them as a kid. It was about fun for 6 months, but then they didn't really put any more focus into it and didn't develop any more games to really truly embrace this new technology in Sony space. But what are your thoughts on this move? I mean, to go remote play instead of embracing cloud gaming.
Well, I think it's basically copying the Wii U's homework in a sense, because the Wii U had that gamepad alongside the console, and even if the TV was off, you could still play the game on the gamepad. It's basically the precursor to the Switch, and we know how well the Wii U went. That really didn't go very well for Nintendo at all. Right. So I don't really see this going too well either with a PlayStation. Yes, they do have maybe more of a foothold in terms of people who can maybe afford this and people who would be maybe willing to even just at least try it. But I think at the same time, it's like if it's $200, sure, a Steam Deck is going to be more expensive at $399 unless you go for like a refurbished model.
Sure.
Or if it's on sale. But, you're getting more value out of it because not only can you play the game directly on the Steam Deck, but you can also, say if you own the game on your computer or on Steam, which you should if you're playing it on the Steam Deck, you can remote play from your computer just like you would be on this PlayStation Portal. You can be on your couch, in your bed, playing a game that's streamed from your computer to the Steam Deck. So I think that $200 is maybe a lot to ask for this, honestly. That's really the thing that's going to hold it back.
Yeah, you might as well go and buy a smart TV by the time, Cyber Monday and Christmas comes around. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. And I understand that, the devices like the Logitech, G Cloud gaming handheld is appealing because, it fully embraces all the versions of cloud gaming. But that doesn't, leave the users of a shortage, like compared to what the PlayStation Portal is here to offer. And I understand that a lot of these devices have to have you connected on the Wi-Fi at all times. I think that's something that all these devices will sooner or later start to figure out. But I do laugh because a lot of these like early reviews, a lot of these people are like, well, the PlayStation Portal works really well on good Wi-Fi and just really wouldn't work well on hotel Wi-Fi. I mean, what kind of internet do they think the American people have? I mean, we're all kind of repping hotel Wi-Fi. So, I mean, not everybody has the luxury of 5G Wi-Fi. So the fact that that can also hinder your experience and might be kind of shaky. Let's say, you want to walk in another room while your wife is in the living room watching her favorite, HGTV show. Maybe it might be some latency issues. I have no idea. But I just feel like this is going to be a major fail. And I hope it does, because then hopefully this embraces Sony to give the Sony gamers what they want all along, a PSP 2. That's all we want.
Yeah, they haven't done a handheld since the Vita, and that failed basically at launch.
It did at the time. But I think now gamers would truly want to embrace it, because I think longer the days, and I think that's an important fact that you referenced, especially with Steam. You buy the game through that Steam service, you can play it on the Steam Deck, and then you can go to your PC and play it. I know that's one of the biggest things that Starfield's being celebrated about, as much as it's kind of getting flack, and we'll talk about that a bit later in the show, about some of the premium editions. But the fact that you can buy the game, through the Steam store and then be able to play it on the Move and also play it on the Xbox as well. That's a really, really cool feature. You know, to know that you can play on the console and then go to the PC and you don't have to buy two separate, software choices for when it comes to the game. So yeah, man. I mean, maybe the PlayStation Portal might be for you. I think it's a major L. It should have been called Project L, not Project Q, during its first rendition. But man, oh man, let us know if that's the device that you're willing to get when it drops. But hey, HenricK, what's going on with the world of like theme parks and video game IP?
Well, Universal Studios Orlando has decided to really embrace video games, and they're designing an entire attraction around the villains from Illumination's Despicable Me.
Yeah.
So, those little yellow minion guys, you've probably seen them, even if you haven't seen the movie. They're popular with the kids. And even if you drive by the backside of Universal Studios in Hollywood, you can see this huge minion just jutting out from the attraction. So it's a big series considering, and Universal really does care about it, or at least a little bit. But what they're making is called VillainCon Minion Blast, which blends immersive sets, interactive game-based technology, and an original storyline for a first of its kind attraction that puts guests' gaming skills to the test to see if they have what it takes to become a member of the Vicious Six,
Right.
which is a notorious group of supervillains from the hit film Minions: The Rise of Gru. And we do have a... What's that?
I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's so funny because, like, when I hear you say, first of its kind, and this is not us saying this is the press release claiming this, and I'm like, really? First of its kind?
Yeah, it's questionable.
It's very questionable. We're going to roll the clip first to show you guys a preview of VillainCon Minion Blast. It is at Universal Studios in Orlando. So let's go ahead and give you guys a look.
It's got some weight to it. Definitely need two hands. You see that just activate? Green's lagging a little bit. Fun concept though. See all those little dots? It's hard to see what you're trying to shoot at. I think it's just the villains.
I thought this was a PlayStation Move game.
It basically is. It looks like one, right?
I mean, man, the fact that, like, even in that first, clip of it, when you see the screens that they're shooting at and the screens glitching, wow.
I mean, maybe they have some, refining to do before they officially, are embracing this, but that's just not a good sign for sure.
It's really not. And if you don't mind, HenricK, let's put down the lower thirds, because let's go ahead and showcase the comments around this new attraction. And one person wrote, I think it's really neat idea. I think my concerns are, number one, what if someone falls? Number two, and for people that don't understand, this is like a movable walkway, like as if you're in Las Vegas, like you're just constantly moving, so you can't walk backwards. It's a way to try to keep the flow of the attraction going so everybody can experience this attraction. Number two, accessibility for those using assistive devices like wheelchairs, canes, and etc. Number three, one of the best parts of being on a ride as being able to sit down and rest after a long day at the amusement park. I could see people doing this early in the day. You ain't lying. I think a lot of people at Disneyland, for example, always run to the Buzz Lightyear Blaster game, just because they feel like, you're going to be sitting down, but you're going to try to knock that out and get the hell out of Dodge. The second comment that we got is, this ride is an introvert's nightmare. Isn't every theme park an introvert's nightmare? It would have been iconic if they had made it like the Monsters, Inc. park in Tokyo. It's a hide-and-go-seek ride full of animatronics. And I have been to Tokyo Disneyland. I have been on the Monsters, Inc. ride, so I can speak on that matter. It is very cool. You're holding a flashlight, and you can shine it towards animatronics that will add even more elements to the experience. No, it is not a game. There is no scoring attributes at the end of the ride, but I agree. I feel like Universal could have done a little bit more to really kind of bring the animatronics to life. We also got another comment here. A major hindrance is these gamified rides is their aversion to a player, quote, losing. This aversion makes sense, but a major part of what makes both video games and carnival games fun is the challenge, which unfortunately alienates a good number of people. When I learned this ride was going to be based around a moving walkway system, I knew there was no way this wasn't going to be an absolute clunker. It's such a strange idea and feels like Universal wasn't sure if it wanted to do a traditional dark ride and just didn't have space or a walkthrough attraction and somehow settled on something in the middle, which I think is a fair point. I know how the Hollywood layout is. I don't know how the Orlando layout is, but that could potentially be a possibility. And number 2, love this attraction. While I miss Shrek 4D so much, I do adore this. And I love shooting games. My highest is 729,000. So out of the mist of a lot of negativity, there is one positive. So overall, I mean, is this something that you would like to see more out of, HenricK?
I mean, every time that a Universal or Disney or whoever, theme park decides to do like a VR, AR experience or something like this, it feels a little bit like a cop-out because, I mean, sure, a lot of effort has to go into still, programming the experience to be able to interact with the screen with a blaster and things like that. But at least in my opinion, there's more effort and more passion that goes into, developing a full attraction with animatronics and a full-on ride. And I think that it seems like they don't really want to do that anymore, which sucks because it's like that not only is that like my childhood when it comes to when I think of theme parks, but really the most memorable experiences at theme parks are those more traditional rides or attractions. Not really so much like things like this. Like I don't go to Disneyland and leave thinking, oh, that Buzz Lightyear attraction was so great.
Right.
No, I'm thinking like, oh, Splash Mountain was really fun.
I feel like the only beneficial thing for Universal Studios is that because these you're shooting at an LED screen, is that maybe in the future they can always keep constantly changing it up. Maybe when you go and join the ride, you might always have a different experience than when you walk in. But then when you see the clip where you got like 30 people in one room, how is it going to equally register every gun? That's just my thing that kind of troubled me a little bit. But the thing is, Villain Con Minion Blast is also the first Universal Orlando attraction to feature a connected gameplay experience via the official Universal Orlando Resort app. And so by syncing the blaster to the app, contenders can take their game to an entirely new level and track their scores, embark on special missions within the attraction. So yes, that's kind of cool, I guess. You get, but doesn't this feel like this is more beneficial towards a season pass holder and not someone that's just trying to go to the park, as a once in a lifetime experience?
Yeah, if you have a season pass and you're able to come back multiple times within the year, this is probably going to be something you'll end up doing. But if you are there one time in like 5 years, this might be something you would just put at the back of the list and try to get the other things done first because
right.
Those are going to be more exciting and actually when it comes down to it than this out of all things.
Yeah, like I know some people were like, yeah, you could change your gun to be a fart gun. Woo! Like,
yeah,
okay,
cool, I guess.
Cool, I guess, right? I mean, compared to you go on Mario Kart Bowser's Revenge, and it's kind of lame. You got to get the bracelet. You can do a couple Easter eggs around the park, and then, you can bring some of those coins that you earned into your, Wii account, your Nintendo account. So I guess that's cool, but it doesn't do a whole lot for the gaming experience once you leave the theme park. So, yes, I think we're both on concurrence that it's like, please, 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 don't follow this suit when, like Disneyland, for example, is working on Splash Mountain. I swear, if I see an LED screen up in there, I'm going to flip out. I'm going to be done with theme parks for a very, very long time.
But we'll see, because, Disney's kind of up there in Universal in terms of like cutting corners sometimes. So we'll see what they decide to do with that.
Yeah, you're not lying. Hopefully the magic's not lost, and I'd really hate to see that because we are going to be transitioning into a more of an industry talk. And if they actually were to take some notes and they are going to embrace video game IP, I think they need to project it to the same levels that I'm about to tell you right now. Because did you know that video games generate more revenue than movies, television, and music combined? That's right. In fact, it's projected to surpass $300 billion by 2026, according to the PwC, in alignment with Roundhill Investment. This infographic takes a closer look at gaming revenue and how it is expected to evolve. And as you can see on this chart, an impressive 85% of gaming revenue comes from free-to-play games. These games are free up front and generate revenue through ads, in-game transactions you might know as microtransactions, or loot boxes, and optional purchases. And as you can kind of scope with 2024, 2025, and 2026, what really sticks out to me, and we have discussed this in previous episodes during season 2, but to see that mobile games is such a dominant form of gaming compared to PC and console games worldwide, that's incredible. And so
Absolutely.
You're looking at this, HenricK. What does this say? I mean, I'm just amazed. And I think another important factor to say about this is we're excluding esports. Esports is not put in this infographic. So it could potentially even be higher than what it is. And so the fact that we're a $300 billion industry, man, oh man, are we going to start to see some juicy content or what?
Or, maybe the AAA experience is going to get even lazier because they're just seeing, we're still going up. We're still going up. Not losing profits.
That's actually a really, really good point, especially considering how free-to-play games, they might be called free-to-play, but, we have numerous stories. We've showed numerous viral content where people use and abuse their credit card to be purchasing, cosmetics, weapon skins, and etc. that do nothing to elevate your character to be better than the person that you're playing in Fortnite, PUBG, Call of Duty, you name it, doesn't do jack dooley do. So with that being said, I mean, I think it's totally insane. And you even brought up a story with me, which, we didn't want to go into too much detail because it's ongoing. But last week, Roblox is going to trial with a gal in San Francisco and another lady in New York, where they are going after Roblox because of their virtual coins, the Robux, because they are saying that the company is illegally facilitating child gambling. They're allowing you to be able to bring that virtual coin instead of actual real money, even though you put real money into the virtual coin. And then you can bring that virtual coin into a third-party website, which is a gambling, source. And then they don't do anything about it. I mean, I'm just always amazed.
Yeah, I mean, and it's one of those things too, where like has been this big push in the industry since a few years ago to really, strip out all the gambling mechanics from, like loot boxes and things like that.
True.
From, these games, because a lot of these games are being played by kids, minors, people who are not of age to legally gamble in a casino. So, it ends up being that a lot of these games that get really popular end up being a sort of a gambling avenue for these kids growing up. And then the theory, at least, is that if they are then desensitized to gambling like that, then they're more likely to become gambling addicts. I'm not sure what the science is about that, and I can't speak on that. But it definitely is a thing that they're trying to, take out of the games for a reason. And, it does benefit the gamer as a result as well, because, rather than having to, buy loot boxes to get a skin in a game, you can just maybe outright buy it as a result of it. And that's why it's really wild that Roblox, of all things, which is really aimed towards kids, hasn't really done anything to prevent it from being used as a gambling front, essentially.
You ain't lying. And, as more and more details come out about that Roblox case, trust me, we will visit that during patch notes. But the fact that the industry is thriving, it's very active, is very positive because, I'm expecting a lot of great content to be dropping in the future. So that is something.
Hopefully. I mean, they have the funds, right? They
have the
constantly
funds
going up. So things should be getting better as well, right? I mean, at least in theory.
At least in theory. I think that is an excellent point. And so, HenricK, with that being said, this is not a free-to-play game. It is a game that you're going to have to purchase. But some people, I guess, have gotten lucky to get their hands on it. What's going on?
Well, a lot of us are really excited about the game Starfield that's coming out on early access for people who want to pay a little bit extra on September 1 or the 1st.
Yeah.
But there was a guy out there who decided, I don't want to wait. I want to get access to it now. And he went to some illegal lengths, actually, to do so. His name is Darren Harris, and he is, if you were unfortunate enough to have seen a little bit of the gameplay that he uploaded 45 minutes of Starfield gameplay online after acquiring an early copy before allegedly trying to sell the copies to other fans, which is a big no-no. Already,
Very big no-no.
You already messed up with putting the gameplay out there, but even trying to sell it to other people? Oh.
No, HenricK, I know the biggest mess up, okay? It's the fact that this guy felt like he could be the first person to do an official review of Starfield.
Right.
And if you haven't seen it, here is your first official review of Starfield. Darren Harris.
Todd, no offense, man. That's a good game. Perfect timing. About leaving the earth and all that. It's good stuff. Pretty swift, good moves. They were saying I play like a beginner because I'm not a game expert. I was just trying something out. It's a good game. Y'all don't want to miss that. Starfield for real.
Dude,
this
hilarious.
Is identifying himself online for the authorities to find him.
Yeah, no ski mask, no nothing. He's just like, yo, man, this is me. This is what's good. And I know the sheriff's office in Shelby County, Tennessee, details on their website that the felony charge is $2,500 to $10,000 worth of stolen property, a misdemeanor charge of up to $1,000 for harboring stolen property, as well as an additional misdemeanor charge for possession of marijuana. In some of his early videos, he's smoking the blunt. You can see him kind of coughing, even in this video. He's having a great time. But that didn't stop people from wanting to comment about Darren Harris. And we got the first comment that says, I'm not sure what to do with this video right now. On one hand, I'm really mad that he leaked the game. And another hand, I'm glad that the game is good. Weird place to be. Dude just got lucky that he didn't get on Nintendo's bad side. Never do that. And remember, Gary Bowser, he's just recently got released out of prison after serving 40 months after turning kind of basically bootlegging Nintendo devices to be able to illegally harbor Nintendo's assets into the systems and then sell them off. He made over like $300,000 with it. Now it's going to cost him because now he's got to pay $10 million back to Nintendo. So you are plagued with Nintendo for the rest of your life. I don't think Gary Bowser has that money. The next comment we got is, don't worry, he'll be out of prison just in time for Elder Scrolls 6 Remastered. Was it really worth it when the game gets released in a few days anyways? Great question.
Yeah,
also,
good question.
As Attorney Tom of YouTube says, number 1, don't commit a crime. Number 2, if you commit a crime, do not take a video or photo of you doing a crime. Number 3, if you do take a video or photo of you committing a crime, do not post it on social media. And guys, I got a spoiler here. I know we probably shouldn't do this. You guys want to see? Here's a leak for you. Oh, wait, sorry. Damn, these new Starfield leaks look crazy.
Oh, you finally woke up.
Yeah, exactly. But as we got people like this, he according to Polygon, Darren Harris is accused of stealing 67 copies of the game, which he claims he legally purchased from Vantiva Logistics Warehouse. What in the world does that even mean?
Yeah, I had never heard of them, and honestly, legally, that means that you're accusing them of having sold the game to you illegally.
True.
So it's still illegal.
Exactly. And I know the Memphis Commercial Appeal reports that the police executed a search warrant on Harris's home where they found a FedEx package with a copy of Starfield inside, as well as 3 handguns, including one that was allegedly stolen. But HenricK, I know that, a lot of people are talking about, this thief, this creature of the night, but you know what's also modern day theft?
What's that?
I would say it's these gosh darn premiums, these Constellation editions. I mean, what the hell is going on? I mean, just for a normal edition, you got to pay $70 if you buy it outright for the Xbox or on Steam. But the digital premium edition is $99. And you might be asking, what's the difference between the digital premium edition compared to what you're looking at on screen? The Constellation edition. Well, you get a cool, physical attributes, I guess. You get a really, you're essentially paying $200 for a watch case, a Constellation patch, and a watch. A $200 watch that you better hope is worth $200. But for the people who pay $99 for the digital premium edition, you're going to get the Shattered Space Story. That is the expansion, a Constellation skin pack, and access to a digital art book and original soundtrack. Again, a digital art book. So you're being sent a PDF file and not an actual hard cover art book. That's ludicrous. I mean, it's pure robbery, in my opinion. I mean, why do people keep buying this stuff?
I mean, that's the thing. That's the question, that a lot of people ask. Who is buying this? Well, clearly someone's buying it, because otherwise they wouldn't be offering it in the first place.
Yeah.
So I think as long as people are going to go out and buy it, maybe if you have a little bit of cash to spare and you're really excited for this game, you're like, you know what? I'll put down the extra money to be able to play it early before all the other people in my friend group. So then I could be the cool kid and be like, oh yeah, there's this planet here that I went to, and your friends are like, oh dude, I don't even have access to the game yet. Maybe that's what's going on.
I guess so, but it's like, all you're doing when you're getting the premium, digital edition is just buying ahead of time the expansion, which you haven't even played the game. You don't even know if you're gonna even like the game, but you're gonna take that gamble to get the expansion. Either way, and then come to find out that we're getting more of the creators behind the scenes for Starfield encouraging modders to make more planets in Starfield. Then where's the hype for the expansion? And when does that expansion come out?
I was just gonna say, because you were gonna probably say, with all the modding that's out there, that really happens with any Bethesda game in the first place. The expansions, yeah, sure, they add a lot of really polished content, but the modding, especially on PC, because that's where it's possible, is really what keeps these games alive. It's the reason why Skyrim is still really alive on PC, and it's also the reason why, even going back to Morrowind, which that's a very old game at that point, that game's modding community is still active. So if that game that is so old is going to be still alive because of the modders, just think about how long Starfield's going to be around because of the modders.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. And, whether this is for you, cool. I think it's cool that you guys are supporting Bethesda's work. I mean, they'll have a lot of money, and let's not kid ourselves. But, the fact that, this is starting off as, I guess, a good launch for Starfield, hopefully the momentum continues. But me personally, I am I've never been with the whole premium route or even the Constellation edition. I just think it's a gimmick. It's not for everybody. But then again, you know, hey, listen, maybe you might be swagging out. You might steal my girl with that Constellation watch. I have no idea, but you know, I'm gonna have to keep you on the live stream and away from the physical realm that we call reality. But man, we had such a jam-packed show for everybody that's tuned in live wherever you're streaming Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. And for everybody that has made it all the way to the end of the episode, you might as well hit the like and subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss a live show. And we got amazing content on the ChrisCollinsShow.com. So if you want to check out all my previous episodes of the Chris Collins Show and Off the Fret Music Podcast, go there. There's so much endless fun and a lot of great artists and interviews. And for people that want to check out your content, HenricK the Wreck, I know you got a lot of spicy stuff that's been developing all over your YouTube page. Talk about that. Let the people know what's good.
Yeah, so I do post on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Well, sorry, X now. I keep saying Twitter, but it's always I have to
it's Twitter.
Get used to that. It's X now. But you mentioned YouTube. I also do post on YouTube, and on all those platforms, I have started a couple of series where I recommend a game that I play and have a lot of good time with, and recommend it to the viewers who are looking for something to play. But I'm also doing a series called In Development Soapbox, where I get a chance to go look at a game that's in development that isn't out yet, might be a couple years before it even comes out, but looks really cool, and I want to share with people because it deserves more attention.
Yeah, I know it's a really fun micro show that you got going on your YouTube channel, and I highly encourage everybody to go ahead and support my co-host HenricK the Wreck, because he's always publishing amazing content. And for you, the gamers, thank you for always supporting us live on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, because if it wasn't for you, the gamers, this show wouldn't be possible. And we will see you next week, fam. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk soon. Peace.
We'll talk next week, and we'll rage again.
That's right. We'll rage. Peace.
See ya.